All right, today we're going to break down a really powerful framework for creating huge, massive breakthroughs in your life. And it's all inspired by the work of Tony Robbins. So let's dive right in.
We've all been there, right? That feeling of just being stuck. It's when you're just kind of managing your life instead of actually living it. You know deep down you want more, but it feels like some invisible force is just holding you back. But what if the secret to breaking free isn't about pushing harder, but about changing something way more fundamental?
And this right here is the core idea. The beliefs we have, the narratives we tell ourselves over and over again, that's our story. And according to Robbins, that story is the very thing that can keep us trapped. So if you want to change your life, you have to start by changing your story. So let's kick things off with a powerful reframe. We're pretty much taught to see problems as these big red flags, right? Signs of failure, things to avoid. But what if that's completely backwards? What if problems are actually a signal for something incredible?
Think about it. Problems are actually a sign of life. They're like the universe tapping you on the shoulder, calling you to grow. You know, the biggest stress we feel usually isn't from the problems themselves. It's from refusing that call. It's from trying to cling to what's comfortable instead of just stepping up to the challenge.
We all chase goals, thinking that when we get there, that's when we'll be happy. But how long does that feeling really last? A day? Maybe a week? Real, lasting fulfillment, it doesn't come from getting to the destination. It comes from the journey, that awesome feeling of constant growth and forward momentum. That's the good stuff.
Okay, so if progress is the key, how do we actually create it? Well, the answer is in understanding the structure of all great stories, because whether you realize it or not, you are the main character in your own epic narrative. And when you learn the components of that narrative, you get the power to rewrite the ending.
You see, every great story follows this pattern. It kicks off with a desire for something more. Then a problem gets in the way. Opponents show up, and hey, these can be your own internal doubts just as much as other people. So a plan is made, a battle is fought, and that leads to this huge self-revelation, a real moment of truth. And then you find a new, stronger equilibrium. Just take a second and ask yourself, where are you in this story right now?
This classic 7-part structure, it's all part of an even bigger pattern, one we see in myths and legends all through history. It's the hero's journey, the ultimate story of transformation. You're living your normal life, then a challenge shows up. That's your call to adventure. You might resist at first, but eventually you cross a threshold. You face your biggest fears, you slay your dragons, and you return totally transformed. This isn't just a fairy tale. This is the blueprint for your life. So, if your life is a story, how do you grab the pen and become its author? Let's turn this whole framework into a practical map, a 7-step path you can use to create any change you want. All right, here's your guide. Step 1, get hungry. Get crystal clear on what you want and why it matters so much. Step 2, face the truth. Be brutally honest about what's really holding you back. 3, create your massive action plan. Step 4 is the big one. Confront what's hard. You gotta slay your dragon. Then you make it stick. 5, build a daily practice. 6, raise your standards and actually measure your progress. And finally, number 7, celebrate your wins along the way. Now that second step is absolutely non-negotiable. You have to be honest with yourself. They say the truth will set you free, but first you have to face it. So what's really in your way? Is it a specific fear? A limiting belief like, I'm just not good enough? Is it a destructive emotion or a bad habit? Or hey, maybe you just don't have a crucial skill yet. You've got to name it to tame it. And this brings us to the absolute heart of your journey, slaying your dragon. It just means finally doing that one thing you've been putting off, the thing you've been avoiding. You have to face your worthy opponent, whether that's an internal fear or some external obstacle. And remember, the size of the hero is determined by the size of the dragon they slay. Okay, so once you're on this path, how do you keep the fire going? How do you maintain that momentum? Well, it all comes down to 2 final game-changing principles. The only real cure for fear is massive action. Don't sit around waiting for the perfect moment. The instant you make a decision, take one physical step. I don't care how small, to commit yourself. That is how you build unstoppable momentum. And finally, the fastest way to break out of a limiting story is to stop focusing on yourself. Shift your focus from what you can get to what you can give. Because when you start contributing to something beyond yourself, you tap into a purpose so powerful that your own problems start to seem, well, pretty small.
Look, you are the hero of your own life. The challenges you're facing right now, they're not a stop sign. They are your call to adventure. You have the map. The only question left is, will you answer the call?